Donald Trump just rolled out a pretty controversial economic proposal to enact 25% tariffs on most products coming into the country from Canada and Mexico, which is a lot of products. Here's Trump announcing these tariffs, which are set to go into effect Saturday, February 1st.
Subsidies that we're giving to Canada and to Mexico in the form of deficits. And I'll be putting the tariff of 25% on Canada and separately 25% on Mexico. And we will really have to do that because we have very big deficits with those countries. Those tariffs may or may not rise with time.
Will be part of that?
Mexico and Canada have never been good to us on trade. They've treated us very unfairly on trade. And we will be able to make that up very quickly because we don't need the products that they have. For us to be subsidizing Canada to the tune of $175 billion a year and subsidizing Mexico to the tune of $250 billion, $300 billion a year.
So this is a wild thing to do for me for a couple reasons. First and foremost, one of the big reasons that people elected Donald Trump was because they were sick of years of an increase in the cost of living and unaffordable prices and inflation under the Biden-Harris administration, and people were sick of it. They voted against that. They wanted something different. But, and this is just Econ 101, tariffs will make the prices of things go up, whether it's housing that relies on Canadian lumber, whether it's food products that come into the country through Mexico. All these sorts of things will make consumer prices go up. Even supporters of tariffs acknowledge this because that's the mechanism by which they help American businesses, is by increasing prices so they can charge more. The Nonpartisan Tax Foundation estimated that this would come out to about a $670 tax increase per household in America. I don't think Americans can afford that after years of inflation, or that they're going to be happy when prices go up. And all for what exactly? Because Trump is upset that we have trade deficits with Canada and Mexico? Guys, all a trade deficit is that it means that every year when you add up all the trade between the US and Canada, for example, on net, we're bringing in more than we're sending there. So on net, we're importing more goods and sending money overseas in exchange for those goods. So that might show up in GDP numbers as like a $40 billion trade deficit with Canada. But why is that a bad thing? Trump never really explains that. Trade deficits don't mean you're sending jobs overseas. Statistically, there's no correlation between job numbers and employment and trade deficits. And all it means, again, that we have this trade deficit is that we're getting more things and we're paying money for them. That doesn't mean we're being ripped off. I mean, I have an enormous trade deficit with my grocery store, for example, and they're not ripping me off just because I get a lot of stuff from there and they don't buy anything back from me. Like, that's fine. Now, Trump says that part of the reason he's enacting these tariffs is so that Mexico and Canada help him get the border under control. But even that, like, well, what does that have to do with Canada? I don't think we have a huge illegal immigration problem coming in from the north, and they're probably going to respond to this by hitting us with tariffs. So it could even cause a whole trade war with some of our allies with whom our economies are most intertwined. There have been instances where Trump has shown that tariffs can be an effective negotiating tool, but I think if he actually lets these go into effect, it will really hurt American families, including many who specifically supported him because they wanted life to get more affordable, not less.